My name is Jen, and I am on a journey in order to break free from the destructive patterns of disordered eating and in order to embrace a nourishing lifestyle. My roadmap can be described using an acronym of the word Nourisher. So I'm doing daily video blog posts in order to encourage you, equip you, and keep you up to date on my progress. If this content is helpful or encouraging to you, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing with others. It is my deep desire that these videos would help to ignite nourishing transformations in us all. Hey, thank you so much for joining me for my Nourisher Check In. I have a bunch of thoughts to share with you today, so let's dive right in. In regards to noticing my emotions, the main emotions that I'm feeling right now are very satisfied, very enthusiastic, and a little bit of underlying sadness and melancholy in there as well that I am noticing. But one big thing that happened that I wanted to share with you was that we had something a little bit, I guess you could say, bad happen. I mentioned to you that I work in the tourism industry and that we run a facility, and we had guests here recently, and we discovered a new bug infestation. Bug infestation is probably like some termite type of bug that is probably eating out one of our walls. So we have had this type of thing happen in the past before. And I remember how overwhelming it felt and how discouraging it was and how, just bad it felt to discover something like that, like somebody just like kicked you in the stomach. And what I noticed was that even though the situation is very challenging and, it's going to be a really big job to find a solution, I wasn't overwhelmed. I didn't feel that same feeling of dread or that same feeling of deep discouragement as maybe I have when we've encountered some of those problems in the past. So that was a great thing to notice, and I really can see capacity being built, the capacity to be able to handle hard things and to be able to handle some harder emotions. So I'm encouraged about that today. In regards to opening up to others, I did take a quick minute today to call a girlfriend and just to check in with her. And that was so great because she's one of those delightful friends who, when I ask her how she's doing, she answers honestly and openly, and then she reciprocates by asking me as well. So it's a really mutual friendship, and that was beautiful to get to check in with her today. Understanding the cycle, I mentioned to you that this is my first time being back at work in the physical location since, well, not since the pandemic, but in a really long time. And I was noticing, definitely since I started the journey to become a nourisher. And what I noticed was that so many old patterns that I didn't even realize were kind of like innately ingrained into me, and I had lots of cravings and lots of just desires to handle food in a certain way while in the actual facility that I work. Probably what would happen is, I would be cooking or cleaning or doing something or hosting guests, and then I had a pattern of how to handle the emotions that came with all of that, how to handle the fatigue that came with all of that through food previously. So this has been all about having a time of same place, same old place, but new patterns. And anytime that kind of automatic urge comes up to, now you go and eat chocolate chips, or now you go and grab this, or now you go and do this. Now I can say, no, actually, I don't do that. And that was so helpful. I recently listened to this fabulous seminar by Dr. Gabor Mate, who I really respect and admire. And he had this great quote about our personality. And he said, what makes up our personality is a blend of who we really are, our authentic self, and our coping mechanisms. And I thought that was so interesting because he said our role as communities is to help each other tease out what is the authentic self and what are just our coping mechanisms and our defense mechanisms. And so this has been kind of my goal while I'm here in this old familiar place, is to tease out, no, what does it really like me to do? Who am I really? How do I really want to act and show up? And how do I live within my values? And what was just, thank you that was the old eating disordered pattern, and I appreciate that the eating disorder was trying to provide me with comfort and soothing and all that it was trying to do for me, but that's not actually really who I am. So that has been a very good process as well, to be aware of and to stay off of this cycle. So rewire my brain. Let's talk about this. So in rewiring my brain today, kind of like yesterday, I wanted to continue on today with this idea of having a little bit of a brain break, or what can we call it, a stimulation fast. In that typically on a day like today, I would have a lot of stimulation. I'd have my headphones on if I was cleaning and be listening to a podcast or an audiobook or a YouTube or music or something, or talking to a friend. And yet I've just tried not to do that today. And it has been so interesting to be mindful of where my thoughts are going. So the one thing that I noticed was, like, my thoughts go to these really funny places. So I was cleaning and I had this big discussion in my brain about whether or not it's better to vacuum in the dark or vacuum in the light. And I had this whole well, if you vacuum in the dark, you do a really thorough job because you can't see actually what it is that you're tackling, so you're more thorough. Whereas if you vacuum in the light, you can actually see the spots and see whether or not you got it all. And so I was going back and forth, and it's just so funny to notice that that's what I was thinking about. Then I had this other thought about how someone had asked me, hey, how are your kids doing? And because we live abroad and people don't get to engage with our kids often, people often ask me, how are your kids doing? And I thought, you know what? I have no idea what sparked it, but I thought I want to be the type of person who, rather than reporting on what my kids are doing in terms of activity or academics, I want to report on who they're being. And I had this beautiful experience with one of my daughters. One of our dearest friends in the whole world is undergoing cancer treatment right now. And our girls, as part of educating them, giving them financial education, we've always kind of instructed them to take their money and put money that they get, a percentage of it goes to, that they can spend, a percentage of it goes to give to others in need and to God, and a percentage of it goes to savings. And it was so interesting because when we told our kids about this dear friend's battle with cancer and the potential that she may need to go through chemotherapy, they know that chemotherapy involves possibly losing your hair because they've done several hair donations. And if you ever want to do a hair donation, we give through a wonderful organization called Wigs for Kids, and I'll put that down in the note below, in the additional resources below in the comment section. But anyway, so they're well aware. They put the two and two together really fast. And I said, yeah, but for an adult wig, you give towards with kids with cancer for your wig donations, but it costs a lot of money to buy an adult wig. So they decided that they would like to give some of their saved money towards that. And then recently my one daughter had a birthday, and she said, oh, I don't want to do the regular percentages in terms of how I divvy up my money. I want to give much more to give. And I said, oh, why is that? And she said, because I want to be able to give more towards the wig purchase. And just to see that generosity in her and that level of concern and involvement was so inspiring and exciting. And I thought, wouldn't it be beautiful if somebody asked me, how are your kids doing? And I say, yeah, this daughter is really developing a beautifully generous heart, and I'm appreciating about her so much. So yeah, so that was neat. I even thought, maybe I should start writing down some of these stories of the different aspects of character that I see developing in them. So it was just super funny and good and exciting and inspirational just to listen to my brain go on all sorts of crazy rabbit trails, like you listen to all my crazy rabbit trails. Also, I did do, when I was noticing a little bit more of that sadness and melancholy, I did choose to do some of those half smiles. And again, a half smile is just when you turn up the corners of your mouth into a little bit of a smile in order to help your body lead by helping your body trigger the creation of kind of happier hormones or neurochemicals to help to lighten the mood your body and your emotions. Now, I always want to put a bit of a caveat on this to remember that the half smile exercises are in order to help to change your neurochemistry. They are not trying to mask your actual feelings. And someone once said that the bigger the smile, the bigger the pain behind it. We never want to use a smile as a mask, but we do want to know that we can help our body change its neurochemistry and help us to kind of shift our way of thinking and our way of experiencing the world through some of these, I don't like the word hacks, but some of these brain tricks, let's say. Insulin-friendly eating. So today, I think I mentioned yesterday that one of the patterns that I noticed when I'm at work is because I'm offering food service to our guests while they're all eating, I tend to go and clean the bathrooms and clean all the places where they're not when they're in the dining room. So as a result of that, I noticed that I'm actually not eating at regular intervals, at the regular scheduled meal times. And that may be one reason why I tend to be bingy and have increased cravings while I'm at work. So today I was able to kind of front load that and to cut that off, that temptation, by eating before serving the meals to my guests. And that was very, very helpful. And I also brought my typical nut snacks with me that was helpful. So that actually, takes us to, I'll skip over S for a second, to H, and hydration. Because I was eating nuts that had some salt in them, it was very easy to remember to hydrate today. I think just because of the salty nuts, I was thirsty and working hard and working up a sweat. So I did I think a really good job at hydration. Let me jump back to S. So S, of course, is sleep. And I am just so motivated to sleep right now. I think because I've been doing more study on all the wonderful, amazing things that sleep does. And I'll talk more about this in another check-in. So now I'm like anxious to get to sleep because I'm like, okay, come on, body, do all the beautiful things that God intended sleep to do, like, repair my body and boost my immune system and, solidify learning and actually help process emotional trauma and all of these different beautiful, amazing things that sleep is intended to do. So last night, as I said I would, I finished work, went home, went right to bed. So that was great. And I hope to have a really early night again tonight. Even thinking about sleep, my body's already preparing. So I already talked about hydration. Exercise today was just work, just running up and down the stairs at our facility and vacuuming and all that kind of thing. So I'm already looking forward to getting into a rhythm of walking again, and I'm really looking forward to being back in nature when the rain lets up. And reward, I think I may have talked about the fact that Gabor Mate, who you know that I really, really respect, he talked about the personality in general, people's personalities being a mix of their true, authentic self and their defense mechanisms. And he said that our role as communities and as people is to tease out what is your true, authentic self and what is just a defense mechanism that is trying to protect you from pain. And this is part of my thinking about what is the reward. The reward is that I can learn more and more who my true authentic self is and live more like the person that I was created to be. So that is really rewarding for me to know and to have a community together with me to help me tease that out and to help me tease out the disordered eating patterns, which have been one of those defense mechanisms that no longer need to be with me and that are not part of my true authentic self. So it is a big reward and excitement for me to be able to discover the authentic person that God has intended me to be. And I hope that you are enjoying a process of learning the authentic you as well, and learning to love the authentic you. So I'm already looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.